Hi friends, again, this is Ankit Chaladia. In last video, we have talked with Smita about Earthoholics and how the Earthoholics came to existence and her journey to Germany and about living in Germany or traveling in Germany. So now we want to know in more detail about microgreens. And Smita, I will be asking straight questions like Arnab Goswami. What are microgreens and how are they different from the sprouts? Because we know the sprouts are healthy for us, and so
Right.
nowadays we are listening or hearing more on radios and internet about microgreens. So what are they? I'm just curious and I want to know it. So you can share your screen or whatever you have. It's all yours.
Okay, sure. So I think I can just tell you the difference right away. So sprouts is what when we eat, let's say when we make a moong sprout or any bean that we sprout and we eat the whole bean along with the sprout, of course. And when we are talking about microgreens, we are not eating the seed like in the case of sprouts. We are eating the stem and the leaves. So that is the clear distinction. So in sprouts, you're eating the seed, which we call the beans or whatever you have sprouted.
Lentils,
Whereas, yes, and usually sprouts are done in water, whereas microgreens are usually grown in a medium, and the roots and the seed remains in the soil. Whatever is above the soil is what you eat in microgreens. So that's the clear distinction.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And like it's about the eating habits or how you eat these two things differently. That's the main difference. And what are the nutrition value, like sprouts and what is it, microgreens? So how are they different when you think about the proteins or whatever contents they have?
Yes, so as a master student in science, I cannot just make statements without any published report. So I think there has to be still more research done with regards to the nutritional value of microgreens versus sprouts, because still there's no published data, but there is published data between the microgreens, the nutritional value between microgreens and the mature greens. So by that, I mean, for example, when you're eating coriander, which is widely used in India, dhania. So when you use coriander microgreens versus the mature coriander that you buy from the market, the microgreens has much more vitamins in it. Similarly, red cabbage also has much more nutritional value in the micro version, that is the microgreens of red cabbage, more nutritional versus the mature cabbage. So this can be clearly spotted, and therefore people term it as a superfood, and it is used for since it has so much of nutrition. Of course, anything that is nutritious has health benefits, and it's preferred as a health food.
Okay, can you show us some health benefits or like it's clear that microgreens can be helpful for your body. So how this thing works, or if anything you can show us
yes,
about microgreens?
Sure. Yes, definitely. I will quickly share my screen.
Okay.
And here. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes, so this is exactly what I spoke earlier, where this is a picture from the internet, where you see that when you sow a seed, so this is a radish, like a red radish, and you can see that when we sow a seed and give it ideal conditions to germinate, like water, warmth, darkness, then you see it sprouts, and here you see that there's a shoot that grows, there's a root that grows. So at this point, it is still a sprout. You can see that sometimes in Asian cooking, we have very large sprouts that are used in, in some dishes. So this is still a sprout. And when you let it grow further, then the top part here, this would be termed as a microgreen. So when you consume it at this stage, this is a microgreen. In this case, you do not consume the seed and the root remains inside the soil. Whereas when you're making sprouts at home, you consume the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the clear distinction. Talking about nutrition, like I mentioned earlier, you can see here that the report states that coriander, microgreen coriander has 3 times more beta carotene versus the mature plant. Similarly, basil has 8 times more vitamin K, and red cabbage has 40 times more vitamin E. So this is how this is what the report says, that microgreens are really healthy. And the best part, Ankit, about this is that everyone can grow it at home. So all you need is a container like this. You don't have to buy it. You can use a old shoe box. You can use just about anything like a old basket, which is 2 to 3 inches tall. I mean the height of the container, the depth. This part should be 2 to 3 inches, and that's it. And whichever soil you have available, especially with the pandemic, in COVID-19 times, it's difficult to go and buy soil. So let's say if you have an old pot with soil, you can just mix some porous material to it, like coconut husk or some kind of coir, to make it well draining soil so that it's not sticky. And just fill your container with that soil, and use any seed from your kitchen cabinet. When I say any, that means all your pulses could be used. All the things you use for sprout can be used for microgreens. So your chickpeas, your mung beans, dhania seeds from your kitchen cabinet, fenugreek seeds, all of this, even mustard, you can make sarso. And when you harvest your microgreens, you can make sarso da saag with it and eat it with Indian bread. So any seed which is available in your kitchen cabinet can be used as a microgreen. All you need to do is scatter it densely. So I may have a picture to explain this better. So here you can see I have used an old study table drawer. So like I said, you don't have to buy pots always. So just use whatever is at home, drill some holes, fill it with soil. Let's say if you had to buy the soil, then what is the soil proportion you need? So let's say if you were buying soil and somehow if the garden stores are open, like in Germany, gardening is considered as one of the essential services. So all the gardening stores are open, even in lockdown situation. So in that case, you can buy any soil and mix it with manure in 2:1 ratio. So you take 2 parts of any soil and mix it with 1 part of manure, and that should work fine. So whichever part you are, you can 2:1 ratio and use it and fill your containers.
Just a
like
question here.
Yes.
What is the manure? Like, can you like show it, or maybe can you explain it? Like, what can be the, because you're talking about pandemic, like we don't have soil somehow. So what can be the alternative manure when I want to do it now? But in Germany, we can go outside and buy anything. But maybe in some part of the world, they have lockdown, they cannot go outside. What can be the ideal solution?
Yeah, so for that, there's the best solution is that you do a soil-less cultivation. That is, you grow it without soil completely. And I have a picture to show that. But I would just like to say that you have to scatter your seeds densely on the soil when you're growing, and then cover it. And within 10 to 15 days of watering it every day and keeping it in sunlight, they should grow well. And let's say now when you don't have soil, this is what you could do. So this is actually a sieve that people use for sieving flour or stuff like that. So this is a stainless steel sieve, but you could definitely use a plastic or any other material. The idea is that you soak your seeds. Let's say in this case, they've used fenugreek, so you have to soak your seeds overnight. Then drain the water the next morning and sprout it, just like you sprout any other beans or pulses. And then have a nice thick layer of those seeds on your sieve. And then, like you see in the picture, there's a plate filled with water. So you
Yeah.
just have to ensure that your sieve is touching the water somehow, so that the roots get water and the plant grows without any soil. So, and you can see that you can still have your greens growing without soil. And this is the perfect thing to try out for your lockdown, where you cannot go to the nearby markets, and this way you can grow all your greens in less than 15 days and enjoy them in your breads or in rice preparation, in soups, in smoothies, and so on. Like whatever creativity you can use with food, you can use it in that recipe.
Another question came to my mind. Is there any like different types of microgreens, or like normally we can do microgreens with any beans or any seeds we have in our kitchen? But are
Yes,
there any like types? Okay, these are the microgreens from this family. I don't know. I don't know anything. That's why I'm asking. Or like these
right.
are the A types or these are the B types of microgreens. So this is there anything like this?
So nothing like that. So basically, there are just microgreens are any seed that is grown for almost a span of 7 to 15 days. So based on which seed it is, some people like to harvest it young. So I'll give you an example. In this case, the one on the right over here is
Mm-hmm.
harvested after 8 days, and it is much younger and crispier. And if you allow it to grow for around 15 days, then the leaves are much bigger. And this is ideal for Indian cooking when you want to make a vegetable or a sabzi, like we call it, along with potato, onion, and other things blended together. So when you want to make a dish by itself, then growing your microgreens for a slightly longer time makes sense, especially when you're growing fenugreek. And when
Mm-hmm.
you want to just use it for raw eating, like in your salad, soups, or just as a topping, in that case, you could just grow it for 7 to 8 days. So just the duration is the difference. Other than that, the families or groups that you mentioned, they are groups of vegetables, and there are groups of families of certain vegetables. But for a layman, they don't need to trouble themselves with that scientific
Kind of thing.
knowledge.
Yeah.
They just need to have seeds at home and use whatever they like eating. So that's how simple I would like to keep it.
So the last question, or I can say the second last question, I don't know if anything comes later part, but just I
Yes,
saying.
please
So
feel
last part,
free.
I will just ask: are there any best practices? Like you already show how you can do the microgreens. You don't need anything. You can do everything with the things you have in your home. Just a second, I will show you something. Like you can also green your microgreens in this kind of containers.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You can
So.
grow it in something like this. You could grow it in shoe boxes, just
Mhm.
any container that you have at home. Just poke holes, that is important. And your container is ready. Your pot is ready.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. Only my problem is like I don't get any sunlight in my room or in my kitchen or some of this side, because my
Yes.
my apartment is built so in such a way I don't get any sunlight in my room. So is sunlight necessary, or like if I talk about Germany in general, we don't have sunlight for the longer period of time in our country. So are microgreens able to grow without sunlight, or like there are also some like what is artificial sunlight? Is there anything which we can do if we don't have the sunlight from natural resource, only sun?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally a valid question, a good question, in fact. For people who don't have any sunlight, like if it's a dark room that you're living in, then you can certainly use grow lights. You get grow lamps, which are like in the form of tube lights, or they come in different shapes and sizes. So you could have them installed just above your microgreens tray, and you get
Mhm.
it readily on Amazon, in India as well as in Germany. So
Mhm.
if light is zero in your premises, then grow light is maybe something that you may need to invest in. And other than that, anyone who has even 1 or 2 hours of direct sunlight or even indirect sunlight in their homes, they can definitely grow microgreens. So you don't really need, so it's not like a tomato plant or any other vegetable which requires 6 to 7 hours of direct sunlight. So it's not the case. So they are baby plants, so they are happy with 1 or 2 hours of sunlight also.
So I can do it because in my room, I cannot, I don't want to show it because it's because of the virtual background, but I can show it because here I have the windows and I get only reflection from the other side of the buildings because the sun is going from this side to this side. So my building is in the downside, so I don't get any sunlight directly. So, but I get the reflection. So I can also use the reflection as to grow the microgreens. So it should be fine.
Yes, yes, definitely. As long as there's bright light, it should work. So even indirect light works, but it has to be bright.
Okay. Yeah. The last question, which maybe or it should be interesting for many people. I can grow microgreens easily without any trouble. But if I have grown microgreens, what kind of food I can cook with microgreens? Because there should be some recipes. Maybe you have tried it, or if you have something to share. Like I have the microgreens methi. How what I can cook? That's also a question.
Right. So in India, we make a lot of Indian bread. We call it parathas and theplas. So I think you must be, you may be an expert with theplas.
Yeah.
So
eating.
Yeah. So you just have to basically harvest your microgreens like this. Just use a scissor, nothing fancy. You can uproot them, but when you uproot them, there is additional work of washing the roots because the roots have soil or mitti. So the best would be to harvest them in this manner. Just use a scissor and cut them at the stem, and then you don't have to wash so much because they are already clean. And then you can use this in a dough that you make with salt, spices, as you please, and then just roll them into in like breads like these. This is called a thepla. I made something recently which was in between of a thepla and khakra. So it was very, very crispy, best to be eaten with your coffee or tea in the evening. And you can eat it with chutney or like a sauce, not always ketchup. You could make like a chutney, that's what we call it, with coriander, green chilies, maybe coconut if you like, salt, and so on. So this is something you could make. Other than that, you could so microgreens are are best eaten raw. So if you like salads, then you don't have to worry at all, because then you just harvest your microgreens, wash them, and toss it into salads, and that's the best way to get the most nutrition out of the microgreens. So there's nothing better than that. And you could make salads of your choice. Other than salads, you could also make like a pesto sauce with microgreens blended in them. That's also quite healthy. You can add them as a topping on your pizza, or as an add-on in your burgers. What else? You can make amazing smoothies out of it. You could also make it I'm feeling hungry as I look at all of this.
I'm also, that's what I'm saying.
You can add it in your sandwiches, on your avocado toast as a topping. You can add it in your biryanis or pulaus, or whatever paella preparation that you may eat. So you could add it in many ways. So with food, that's the best part. So whichever part of the world you are in, you can always come up with some recipe to use microgreens. So yes, I can share a link with you, which you can add along with this video, which has nice recipes with microgreens. Yeah.
So it was really interesting explanation about microgreens. Even I'm feeling hungry. I need to go somewhere because I need to wait 8 days at least to grow my own microgreens. And I have collected so many containers like this because normally in Kaufland or in Germany, when you go to supermarket, you buy some fruit, you always
Yes.
get this kind of plastic containers. And these are
Right.
the things which, if you don't use it in some certain productive way, like growing microgreens, it will be going in the dustbin,
That.
and somehow it will go to the landfill if it is not recyclable. So
Yes.
you can use this kind of box. Maybe I will try. At least I will try it because I don't have sunlight directly. If I can grow it, I will do it continue. I have because two big windows. The only thing is I don't have direct sunlight. I can try it.
That
If
doesn't
it
doesn't
works,
matter. You can try it out. Maybe it
yeah.
just works because it's too bright.
That's the thing I can try. And maybe in next or like maybe next time I talk with you, I will share my own microgreen what you say dish I prepared, and it should
Yay.
be it should be the like glad to my tongue and also my body, like because of this nutrition value. Uh,
Absolutely.
so at the last part of the this what is a YouTube or not the YouTube but normal video, uh, if you want to share anything about microgreens or anything about this complete session, you can share your ideas, your suggestions, or feedback, and yeah, and then we can move
Yeah,
to the last part.
sure. So I just want to say a few things. One, firstly, on for all the people who are always having a lot of ideas on different topics, or they want to really do something or change something in their community or in their vicinity. For all those people, I would just like to say that you always don't have to start big. You always don't need, I've said this many times before, that it's not necessary to always have a plan on paper. Maybe you just have an idea, just go for it, try it in small baby steps and see
Mhm.
how it goes. And once you have something flowing, automatically everything will fall into place and you'll be able to take your idea and convert it into a business plan or business idea and take it forward. So just try, do not give up before starting. That is one
Mhm.
thing I would like to say to everyone, because I was never into plants or environment, and I was never sensitive so much with nature. Of course, I like to go out in the nature, but I wasn't sensitive towards sustainability and so many things until 2011. And after I started just gardening, I realized the importance of waste management, importance of biodiversity, and I got interested in so many sustainability topics, and I changed my lifestyle to a great extent. So if I can do it without coming from this background, I think we all or you all can do better than me. So that's my first message. And
Mhm.
my second message on microgreens is not just microgreens, but we all can grow at least some portion of our food, provided we have some sunlight and some space. And I think we can consider eating healthy. And even when we start growing our food, we become more conscious about how we eat it and how we dispose it. So there is less waste automatically because we start valuing everything more, because we understand how much time it takes to grow one something. So I think I would just like to suggest everyone to at least once in their lifetime to try growing their own food. It's a beautiful experience.
And that's also the thing our prime minister says, like you need to be the atmanirbhar, like you need to be the self-reliant. Like if you
Yes,
want to eat your food with tomatoes, you can grow your own tomatoes. You shouldn't be dependent on
absolutely.
some others like supermarkets or something. Not in the sense, but like if you can grow your own food, you are like on your own. Even anything
Yes,
happens outside the world, you can still have your food with yourself. You don't need to wait for
absolutely.
like 10 20 minutes to just get into the shop and then you can buy something. So that's the thing you can do. And it was
Yes,
really nice talking to you in the last part. Whatever you says in your suggestions to the people, if you have dreams you can try, or if you have some ideas, even like the ideas sound maybe too dumb or too silly, but if it is your idea, you need to look after it, you need to nurture it. We like microplants or microgreens, you need to
yes,
give the waters or whatever the idea needs. You need to search the information on the internet, what I can do, or you need to meet people who are doing such kind of things, and then somehow you can get something out of it. Like you started Earthoholics without no idea. In the beginning you were just looking after plants, you want to grow your own food, and the somehow okay, why shouldn't be the thing for all. and then you come up with the idea. I will give the information which I have collected to the other people, or to the community. Somehow it should be the it's your goal somehow. So it was a really interesting session, and I really enjoyed a lot. Even I'm looking at the screen right now with so many food options, and it's distracting me. And it was really still because of your like interesting way of telling your stories and telling your information. It was really good. And yeah, I don't have any other words to say, but I will thank you, Smita, to joining me for this session in such a short notice, because it was just a WhatsApp message. We were talking and I said, okay, why don't we do this kind of thing? Because it's my first video in this kind of session. Normally, I'm doing videos about speaking German in general, because I have done my master in German language and I can speak German, and I have seen so many people who are in Germany, they have issue in speaking. So I'm helping those people, and I was making video out of this conversation, because it should be the material for other people to feel confident, because normally they think only Germans can speak German. But if you have learned Germans, and you can also do. So that's the idea I was working on, and this idea, it's something different, but it's to inspire people to do something out of their life, or maybe in microgreens, or if they have some other ideas about to changing or challenging the society to do better, you can do it. And you are the example, Smita. I'm really thankful. And I
Thank
don't know.
you.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for inviting me to have this nice, lively chat with you. You always have this smiling face, and it's so nice to keep talking. So, thank you once again for inviting me, and I hope this session adds value to at least a handful of people in terms of growing their food or trying out what they are scared of. So, yes, let's hope for the best. And
Yeah,
thank you
let's hope
once
for the
again.
best. And yeah, I thank all the viewers of this video. And you can also comment any suggestions or any recommendation which we can do in the next part, or maybe in some future videos. It will be helpful for me to
Sure.
improve this content which I am bringing for you people. And with these remarks, I will end this video. See you in the next video. And thanks for watching. And thank you,
Thank you
Smita,
for
again.
watching.
And goodbye.
Bye. Goodbye.